side, we worldwide. From the east to the west side, get it, girl, that's right. Let's ride. She ain't got to tell me she want it. She know I know that she with it. She moan and groan when I get it.
Good evening, Trading Addicts. This is Jeff Kohler, aka The Option Addict, from over at www.tradingaddicts.com. Also tabbed blogger over at ibankcoin.com. Here with this week's weekly watch list. As we look at the market structure heading into this week, S&P was pretty much consolidating under the 50-day moving average up until Friday, where it finally left that balance and started to progress back up towards the neckline of the reversal pattern that had set up earlier in the month. You look at the Russell, though, and the Russell had been a little bit stronger than the markets, and this has been the one indice that we've been focused on primarily, is we always look for kind of early leadership and strength in the Russell. So I imagine we're going to rally back up and test the underside of this neckline. And for those that have been kind of in a short position against the Russell, I said, hey, that's kind of your line in the sand. For anybody that's looking to take a hedge against the Russell, we had talked about, this 1045 level. Anyways, so to me, it looks like we're kind of working our way back up towards that. The path of least resistance should be at least a retest in the S&P and the Dow and the NASDAQ of this old base, and would also provide short sellers a decent opportunity to sell a rip. But breadth has improved over the last couple of days, which is something that I'm watching very carefully. Now, away from just the indices, what we're looking at under the hood of the markets, most importantly, in my opinion, are the housing stocks. And the reason why is that they had led the breakdown, whether you look at the ITB or the XHB. We've been following housing stocks because they were the first to break down by a full day. When you look at the Russell, the Dow, the NASDAQ, they went first. And on the day where markets broke down, they reversed really sharply with huge volume. We had a really good trade in KB Homes that day. And they're kind of consolidating up at this neckline. So to me, this is the indicator I've been looking at to see if there are bear traps lying about. Meaning that we trapped some bears on the breakdown here, reversed back up. I mean, after all, this pattern here, the head and shoulders pattern, reversal patterns like this, have been the worst performing patterns over the last 5 years. They just serve as bear traps almost exclusively. So I'm looking for strength in housing stocks next week. That's why those are going to be some of the focal points of my watch list this week. Also in financials, financials which have been kind of taking a little bit of time off here. I like the XLF. I like the bank components, which is why I went out, took a position in Bank of America. I'm going to be looking at Goldman first thing tomorrow morning for an opportunity to buy down there. If the financials start to lift here and housing stocks start moving, I'm kind of liking the laggards, meaning they had been early leaders over the first the first initial stages of this rally. Kind of lagged a little bit, have been a little bit heavier recently, but I'm starting to like them again. And on that, I would also list solar stocks. So tomorrow we're going to be looking at if dips are bought in First Solar or in Solar City. I think these might be playable in the upcoming week. And again, these were leadership groups. I mean, back in February, April, May, these things were absolutely hot, and then they've cooled off for a little while. So I'm going to be looking at them again. So those are some watch list components. Again, Goldman Sachs, solar stocks, First Solar, Solar City, and then the housing stocks. My favorites there would be HOV, and because if you look at some of these over the longer term, you'll see that HOV has been consolidating here for a little while. Hasn't really gone anywhere, but it just seems that volatility has contracted enough to where it's ready to make a big move. Same thing with Beezer, ticker symbol BZH. And you might even look at Beezer over a much longer term time frame, but you can see that this stock has just been tightening up for a long time to me, which looks ready for a pretty big move outside of this range. So housing stocks, financials, solar stocks are some themes that I'm looking at. Also just some individual setups I'm looking at are Sohu. China stocks have been super, super strong, and I like the way that this thing's just been ledging. Looks pretty similar setup as Green Mountain Coffee was, Deckers, and you guys all saw how those panned out. So looking at those this week. Also, UNXL, I already have a position here, but if you're not in this, just keep in mind that if UNXL is able to get back above 18, this should be a really, really fast mover up to the mid-20s. A name which I haven't traded in a long, long time is Level 3 Communications. A long, long time since I traded this name, but I started looking at the long-term chart of this, and I really like when stocks get into this little ATR or volatility squeeze when prices are contracting quite a bit. So Level 3 might make a move out of this range here within the next couple of weeks, and so that's a name that just recently popped up on my scans that's got my attention. Out of all the momentum style stocks, I like Amazon right around here, into weakness. Ruckus is back on my list. I had a trade on this a little while ago, didn't pan out as I thought it would. I know that I'm not wrong on this. I know it's still going to happen. I just think that my timing on this was initially wrong. So Ruckus is something that I'm looking at here. Same analysis, same price target, all that. I'm thinking it happens here pretty soon. Like the setup in Dunkin' Donuts, just the way that it's been trading up, just bounces off the 50-day moving average, trending stock, but after this recent consolidation, might be an easy move to catch a breakout to 46. And a couple more, I like WDC, the way that it's been consolidating lately. Again, like ranges like this, looking for breakouts. And then a couple of the cheaper stocks that I'm watching this week would include FENG, F-E-N-G, same thing, contracting volatility after a really, really fast price move, a lot of volume here recently. I like DVAX. Out of the biotech names, this thing's got a really nice profile overhead, been consolidating real nice here over the last couple of weeks. Off these cheap stocks, I would say JASO and LDK from the Solars are looking pretty good, pretty similar patterns. Again, I think Solars might make a move here pretty soon. I like this EMMS Communications, just staying up and ledging up at the top of this recent run. And last but not least, I like ZHNE, the way that's just been flagging up here. I think this might have bottomed here short term, might be ready for another move up. So in terms of the names, it's a pretty scattered list, but the technical setups are all pretty similar, which is that's been my primary focus here in the last few weeks. So I'm just trying to identify the setups just to find explosive movements. So this is where I'll be trading in the upcoming week. Also, just as a heads up, the premium service of iBank Coin will launch this week, so you'll hear more details about that on Monday. And that's pretty much it, folks. This has been The Option Addict. That's been my watch list. Thanks for watching. Have an awesome week.